Hi there. I'm watching Shaw TV, Channel 4, Saturday morning, and I'm just wondering, has your TV program, Channel 4, been hijacked by some crazed political organization? Freedom for All? I mean, this is not political. This is kind of strange, and I'm just wondering why you've got this Freedom for All thing on TV, public programming. It's really, really strange. Get it off the airline. It's weird. Bye.
I'm a chemtrail guy, and I'll tell you why. Look up in the sky, white streaks flying by. Got the time lapse so I can capture the blast. Here's the proof for the confused noobs. You want a pair of puppets, it's up high in the sky. It's all water vapor, why would they lie? Little ice crystals hanging out cause it's dry. Dissipate slow so they don't realize. Living in a fog like a bump on a log. Don't you worry, spray text on the job. Keep your mind closed, not loose on a tether. Which one you like, which proof is better? Dennis Kucinich made a mention. In-house resolution 2977. BC Weather Modification Act got repealed. Kevin Falcone didn't wanna keep it real. Modification ain't getting old in Alberta. Seeing clouds you never heard of. The UN in Nagoya, Japan. In 2010, they say they put it to an end. What keeps us down in the mainstream mind? Social ridicule, it makes you blind. Tinfoil hat, hop's gonna get you. It's fear-based tactics trying to affect you. Keep your head down while the chem rains down. Speak your mind, you can expect frowns. The strain from planes, it's getting in your veins. Articulate, we're antennae widgets. Transhumanistic, bioelectric physics.
I need some sunshine. Oh, I need some sunshine.
Clifford.
Good evening and welcome to Freedom Free for All, the show that pokes the New World Order in its all-seeing eye. I'm your host tonight, Paul Stein. It's Thursday, July 11th, and we've got a special show for you here. The title of the show today is DEJURE Canada Update, the National Strategy for Provincial Grand Jury. It's not JURE, just by that's our own little bad administration back in the office there. Anyways, we've got Denis Premier. We've talked about him before. He's the King of Canada. We've also got Jeff Fortin. They're here in Victoria, and we're going to talk about basically the updates, the summary of what's been going on with DEJURE Canada, however you want to pronounce it, and the developments that are unraveling over the last 7 years. Every time that I meet with Jeff, I learn something new about what's been going on and how they're walking through the courts and actually making things happen. And it's all done behind the scenes. The media doesn't talk about it. He's been on our show a couple times. And the latest update, I believe, is that we have secured all lieutenant governors of every provincial city. Is that correct?
That's part of one of the things that we've done. Everybody was there in Falcon Lake to sign the Act of Union. That's one of the major things. Lieutenant governor is like a second in importance, I'd say, because the Act of Union was waiting for 88 years. We moved quick to secure the Lieutenant Governor. But first, I'd like to myself say thank you to King Denis Premier, King of DEJURE Canada, and I'd like to. I already have it, but I'd like to seek his permission to speak on his behalf. Of course, Denis doesn't speak English, so I'm going to ask it in French. Est-ce que j'ai la permission de parler au nom du roi?
Oui.
So, en anglais?
Yes.
Merci beaucoup. So I'm going to speak on behalf of Denis. If you have questions for him, I'll be happy to play the middleman. And actually, just to correct you a little bit, we don't poke the New World Order on our side. We leave that to Freedom Free for All. We kick their ass on our side.
You whip them in the courts.
And Denis has no legs, so miracle do happen. How do you kick ass with no legs?
It's awesome that you're in the show. It's a pleasure having you in the studio here tonight, and it's finally meeting you face to face. That's the beauty about doing the show, is that you do meet people that you connect with randomly through the show. And Jeff was one of the guys that contacted us a long time ago to talk to us about this, and now he's on the show, and he's one of our ambassadors for the show for sure. So we're also going to have Adam Blaney, who's in the studio. He's going to come in the show, and he's going to talk about it because we've got a surprise coming from him tonight, which is going to be interesting. So we usually do new media shout-outs. at the beginning of the shows. So that's what I'll do right now. So people like Dan Dix from Press for Truth, Luke Radowski, We Are Change. We've got Josh Sigurdsson from World Alternative Media doing a lot of good work out there. Sophia Smallstorm, Lauren Southern. We've got Richard Heathen from Liberty Machine News. We've got and an old friend of mine, Dean Clifford, which I talked to not too long ago.
Thank you.
He's on the island as well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so I can
right.
connect you with it. But anyways,
Show up, Dean.
a lot of people have been on the show, ambassadors of the show. We got Dr. Tim Ball, who will be on the show next week, next Tuesday, so tune into that. And of course, you can't forget the new Agora. It's not on the tables because we've got all our computers and stuff and books and court documents and everything else. But if you like new media and if you want to support new media, the New Agora is one of the papers that we all read because it's got all the information that you want to read. It's and you can find it in dispensaries, cannabis stores across pretty much BC. And if you don't have one near you, you can go to thenewagora.ca and they'll special order you one. Lorenzo on Facebook would be happy to friend you and talk to you more about that. So that's the new media. We've got no clips to go to. We've got Adam in the studio. Adam, welcome to the studio.
Hello. Thanks, Paul.
What's shaking? How you been?
I'm doing well. I'm just logging into the network here so I can monitor the chat.
You might have a challenge. We were battling some CSIS guys around back before you came in the studio here to.
Oh, did
They
you
were
have to?
gnawing at the wires again. So.
Did you have to kick him out?
Of course, we kick
Again?
ass. Yeah, I may need some new shoes very soon, but I've got military boots somewhere I
Oh,
can
yeah?
use. So
Cool. Well, we've got 20 people watching, roughly 20 people watching right now. So if you have any questions
I
throughout
saw
the show.
Paul Chauvin is in there.
Oh, Paul Chauvin. Hey, how's it going?
He's
There's
the,
also
uh,
Organic Mechanic. Who's
yeah.
Paul Chauvin?
Paul Chauvin is he's the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario?
for Ontario, we've got
For the JURE
Yes,
yeah.
we've got Maureen Weirs,
Maureen
Lieutenant
Weirs
Governor
is in
from
there. Is she
Alberta.
Lieutenant Governor
For Alberta.
for
Who's
Alberta.
Elizabeth,
JURE.
Elizabeth Z?
Welcome,
Who's that?
Maureen.
Do you know who that is?
I didn't see any
Good to see you
Elizabeth.
two here, King, Renee, and Jeff.
I missed it. I
Probably
was
down.
paying it. I was
Elizabeth Z. Yeah, we
looking
got
at
some
you.
We got some
Anyways,
new viewers.
if you have any
Elizabeth
questions
Z.
at any time, I'll be kind of looking at the chat box and
Smash that thumbs up button.
Yeah, absolutely. Share the video because this is important information as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of deep. I've been doing this for a while with respect to the legal person, the personification, the corporations, the fascist states, the history that we haven't been told. And Jeff and Denny have done a lot of work here over the last many years, and we're going to go through some court documents, and we're going to talk about the summary and the updates of where we're at. So basically, you guys were at Falcon Lake, what, a month ago?
Between June 14th and 17th, and we pay everything from our pocket. We never ask for anybody to give us money to do these type of thing. I've got several $1,000s put on the table. We're not looking for financing or to be famous or to be recognized. He's put almost $200,000 on the table. Angèle, which was a huge part of our stuff, which is acting as the DEJURE Governor General, she also put a few $100,000 on the table.
General.
Yeah,
So this
the
is not your
Governor General.
typical activist thing, because most, in my opinion, most activists are quite cheap. Not to bring you guys down or anything, but most activists don't have a lot of money. But this is something you've been doing under the rug, under the scene, and you've been putting a lot of money into it.
Yeah, lots of money, but money is worth nothing. What's worth something to us is our time, our investment in time, in
absolutely.
sweat, in blood, in tears. There's nothing we haven't been through. I've got my face smashed into the cement by the Quebec City Police. So yeah, I did put some blood on the line. I put lots of sweat. He's put lots of tear.
And you're former or Navy or military?
Navy, which is military, but
It is,
it is actually a little bit weird. The land army in Canada is militia, as the standing army is the Navy. It is in the Constitution for Canada to provide the two military hospital and an active Navy.
Well, you're in a Navy
so-
city here. in
Yes,
Victoria,
I
so-
served here. That's why I know my way around Victoria, and our motto in the Navy is "Ready, I ready." So I was born ready, I guess, to face this type of thing. When I finally retired on medical reason after my service, this is how I started discovering that there's something wrong. And as the year passed by, not only did I discover that there was something wrong, there's major problems. And we ended up discovering that there's absolutely nothing legal, lawful, nor constitutional for the past 88 years. So that's quite some time. So basically, all of us together, we've been full up to our grandparent And they've never told anybody about that. And so we need to set forward, not only just like most activists, as you would say, just expose the problem. I got tired of that. I've watched from Alex Jones to everybody.
Yeah.
And I say, well, wait a minute, nobody's providing a solution. Everybody is ready to expose the problem, no problem. But how do we remedy all this thing?
Exactly.
So I got into the status. There's no solution in any of their paper. So one day I woke up and I had the brilliant idea of looking into grand jury. That leads all the way back to Magna Carta, which is dated 800 years.
And just for the record, we don't have a grand jury right now.
We did have grand jury in 2015. He was the instigator. T'as-tu instigé un grand jury en 2015?
Oui.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
was for something to do with why he's an amputee.
Yes. It was a claim against the state. They're not really the state, they're a private corporation.
And what were the repercussions of the grand jury? Because one thing we talked about last night, which I thought was really cool,
Lots of things.
was that even though it was something held under like a grand jury just in a room with some people who were randomly selected or just the people.
Just people.
It was there was a ruling made.
Yes.
And then even though part of the ruling had a financial remuneration, even though maybe you didn't get the financial remuneration, what happened was there was the cascading effect.
Yes. It was not about getting a check.
When we talk about on the show tonight how now we have like a lieutenant governor in all of the provinces of BC for the DEJURE government. And then we have a grand jury in each province, hopefully, like everybody has a good strategy. I know Jeff has got a strategy, and I do, and Paul Chauvin and Rob Menard in Ontario, the Prince Edward Island guys, I can't remember their names, but they have a strategy for...
Yeah, Bill and Wayne in Prince Edward Island, they may see this show a little bit later, so I
right,
salute
so
them.
even though the strategy might not, reward us with, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, it will have a cascading effect, like you were talking about last night, which was resignation of certain corrupt officials, so it kind of, even though we may not be getting money or setting precedent in a certain amount of setting precedent in law officially per se, there is a cascading effect down the line, which is the most corrupted people, those who know about what we're talking about, that they're a part of a de facto government where everything they're doing is illegal because there's no Canadian Union, right? That they're just the domino effect. They're toppling. And so if we can topple a few people like you did in Quebec, I believe it was?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we can do that in BC, and then Ontario, and then Prince Edward Island, and then Alberta, and then Manitoba, and then Saskatchewan. And then, so if you add that all up, it's actually, we're not making money. We're not getting
That's
any,
because you're not professional
but
politicians.
we're actually having a profound effect.
I don't care about money. I really don't care about money. It's worth
My
nothing
hope is
to me.
that profound effect turns into a, like you said while we were out front preparing for the show, we have to inform them. So what happens is it's a scenario where under common law, there's a process that takes place, a certain vote goes a certain way, and then and then we inform them. And if they don't say no, if they don't come back at us and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Then it's true.
At this point, when you say inform them, that's the de facto system, right? They have no more saying. They have nothing to say. So it needs for the people to establish the Society of Canada. So they sit together and they start governing. Because in 1938, Russell Roger Smith found out that we were in need of an act of union. Technically,
Russell Roger Smith.
Yes. So the government was never established after they sent us the status of Westminster. And even then, they had a constitutional problem. The Constitution of 1867, when you read into it, the original version, it cannot be modified, especially not by the politician. The Constitution belongs to the people or to the country, and the country belongs to the people. So it's up to them to modify the social contract by which they want the government to serve them. It's not up to the politician to modify in any way, shape, or form the Constitution. They obey or else. And now we're at or else.
So that's an important starting point.
Yes, the
We do not
Constitution.
have a constitutional government. We have a de
Right.
facto.
We have a de facto government.
But
They
the
are
thing
not
is, but-
obeying this, which has been amended several times, and they've added on the Charter of Rights and Freedom. But even this is not valid. This currently in their system is not valid. It's as simple
Well, what
as
about
that.
this digital charter?
They have no power.
Right.
They have no power. It's de facto. So I prepared to you. You wanna juste me passer le courrier. Paul or Adam, you
Yeah.
wanna read this? That's
Sure.
what we learned
Paul,
from the
thank
grand
you.
jury process. So go ahead.
The whole thing right after de
Yeah,
facto?
yeah.
Jesse, you want to try to pick this up?
and right
Well,
be-
you can't read it and
Yeah.
pick it up at the same
and
time.
before you get reading, this is the judgment that came out from the grand jury. These pages here. Of
Judgment
course,
from the Supreme Court.
the grand jury. The Supreme Court is only 4 pages,
Okay.
but it does include this part here.
Which
So-
is interesting because that's not that thick of a document when you compare it to something like the BNA Act or the BNA.
Oh,
The BNA Act is pretty small.
It's
too.
pretty small too. From
Oh,
between
is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
between 14 and 18 pages. But of
Oh,
course, the article
okay, my
are very
apologies.
small.
Okay,
so
sorry.
The truth is that simple shit is easy.
Right.
Complicated stuff,
Oh, it's
like
the income tax.
Act.
It was the income
is
tax
like
act that
1,000.
I was
yeah,
thinking about
1800 pages,
Yeah,
nothing
1800
understandable.
pages.
And
Yeah.
20,000 regulations. And
Oh yeah, and it
And it's
relates
all,
to this
it
and
was
that.
all
and
done
then-
under a government that wasn't even, that's lying about the fact that we have a united Canada when in fact 88 years ago or whatever, Quebec never signed on to the Union. So therefore, it's like, you can't build the truth on a lie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's it.
So 88
So,
year ago,
they
when that lie went down as the foundation.
It was missing the Act of Union back then.
Yeah.
Quebec was not a sole party. The problem with Quebec arose in 1982. But the thing is, even in 1982, even if Quebec had signed the Constitution, they were unlawful.
Okay,
So they didn't have the right to do it. Actually, they're the only one who did something legal. By not signing, they gave us the issue.
Paul, read that.
Yeah.
And then we need to move on.
Yeah,
I
so
wanna
what
talk
we
about
live in
something.
right now is a de facto government, and this is the definition of de facto. In fact,
That's the meaning first and then the definition.
de facto, in fact,
Yeah, the meaning, that's the meaning.
Yeah.
Indeed and actually,
Yeah.
that's the meaning.
yeah, it means in fact, indeed, actually. That's the definition. So this phrase is used to characterize an officer, a government, a past action, or a state of affairs which exists actually and must be accepted for all practical purposes, but which is illegal or illegitimate. In this sense, it is the contrary of de jure, which means rightful, legitimate, just, or constitutional. Thus, an officer, king, or government de facto is one who is in actual possession of the office or supreme power by usurpation or in respect to
So,
lawful
Just pause
title.
for a second. Do you know what that reminds me about a lot? Is that in local city politics, what I see is there's this new city council, and they're saying that Ben Issa and Lisa Helps that they're populists, right? No, they're not. They're Marxists.
No, I-
Populists are people that believe in freedom for the people because there's a corrupt elite running around. Do you think Ben Issa and Lisa Helps are populists who believe that in freedom? No, they're Marxists. They are the
Yeah.
elite. That, anyways.
So let's carry on. For example, and then
You can skip to
Anyways.
the next paragraph.
but what's interesting about that is that there's a thing called possession is 9/10 of the law. Possession is 9/10 of the law, but the question is what is the last 1/10?
Yeah.
Truth.
The rightful claim.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what a de
Exactly.
facto is.
We've talked about that
they
on our
possess
show
it
with
9/10 of the
Dean
law.
Clifford,
Oh yeah.
But
No,
they don't
Robert
have it.
Nard,
They don't have the rightful
Kennedy,
claim.
Lindsay.
So what is de jure? De jure means of right, legitimate, lawful,
Right. It's like
by right
populist.
and just
it's like
title.
populism.
Yeah.
Well, no, it isn't. But in the sense that, we're told that these Marxists are populists, right? But we're also told that the real government is the real government.
That's
Well,
correct.
no, they're not.
Yes. And the news is the news.
Lisa Helps is not a populist, and the government is de facto.
Yes.
So, would you rather have a government that's de facto or de jure? Would you rather have a government
Well,
that's for the people that
let's
has,
read de jure, what
doesn't
it
want to
is.
have the? I mean, of course.
So it says here, in this sense, the contrary of de facto.
How many times has people watching the show today, and let's take a poll. How many times has your average Canadian citizen heard the term de jure in their life?
Not very often.
yeah.
And some people are usurpating right now in Alberta. They're trying to derail what we've done. They're trying to make their own constitutional convention, get a country out of every province, and then try to get an act of union out of
But
these
that's like
conventions.
treason or whatever.
It is treason. If
Yeah.
you don't abide by this,
So we're not committing treason.
no, because this
Yeah.
is our working document.
That's why I'm here.
This is the only
Constitution
one.
Act.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why I'm here. And that's, Paul, you said that Adam has a surprise as I was coming in. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But then I was like, oh, yeah. But what we got to talk about is, okay.
The JURE first,
so
I
what
think.
happened in Falcon Lake? Like, what was...
We'll talk about it. This is what happened in Falcon Lake.
De jure, of
De
right,
jure.
legitimate, lawful, by right, just title. In sense, it means contrary to de facto. It may also be contrasted with de gratia, in case it means as a matter of right. As de gratia means by grace or favor. Again, it may be contrasted with de equitate.
I don't really speak Latin to tell
Here
you the
meaning,
truth.
here meaning by law, not
But
by
law-
law,
law-
but by law,
law
as
is
the
all
latter
Latin,
means by
you know what I mean?
equity.
It's all
Yeah.
Latin, but
So when you can't speak the
but
language-
let's make something very straightforward here. We're not doing legalese. So when they've
Yeah.
corrupted the language by their legalese, it's up to them. This is court bullshit that I use when I go in court. But when we're speaking here, I'm a Frenchie, he's a Frenchie. We're speaking plain French. What's in the regular, usual dictionary. When I speak in English, I speak about the regular English dictionary. where
Common,
there's-
ordinary language.
Yes, common ordinary language, except when we're using these definitions here.
Correct.
So yes, when we're using de jure, we're using the definition that you mean there, and we're not de facto, and we're not about to take on the de facto people. They're there. They're doing what they have to do. We can't do anything to stop them, and we're
Correct.
not about to do anything. So there's an election coming for the federal government. They pose as federal government, but they're still de facto.
De facto.
So we don't care about them.
But what we can do is we can slow the train
Well,
down.
Paul was saying that...
We
isn't
cannot
it-
participate.
Isn't it interesting?
slow it down.
Isn't it interesting that even Maxime Bernier, who seems like the choice that for the people that are sick of the left-right paradigm, well, here comes another choice.
He's
but
a lawyer
it's-
from Quebec.
He's a Quebec bar lawyer of X amount of years, at least 10.
Yeah.
And also, it's the People's Party.
No.
Isn't that like total socialist?
It's bullshit.
Like Marxist people, like you, it's like NDP. They might as well be NDP. They're
That-
not
isn't
conservative.
that where-
That the name, it's in the name.
He came from there, conservative. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Maxime
just to
Bernier,
get
I mean,
just to get back to the grand jury and what we've done, the grand jury cannot judge in a criminal matter. It can rule in Canada. It's historical. I didn't invent anything about grand jury to begin with. It's 800 years old, come from the Magna Carta. So so it ran in Britain, and it came with the British when they brought over the red shirt and the common law and the beer that was not undrinkable. But that's something else. But they did bring common law, and that's what we're working on. Common law.
That is the
derives-
basis of Canadian law.
Yeah, natural law,
Yeah,
and
correct.
even though
Natural
they've
law.
tried to
Dean
destroy,
Clifford style. Yep.
even if they tried to destroy the common law for the bulk of the 800 years, and they did succeed in Britain, by the way, by waging 2 world war, they've destroyed the British Empire, but the empire is of no importance. What they wanted to get rid of was common law, so we're trying to reestablish the law of the land, where we, the people, are working in the benefits of all living creature, not just human, birds, cattle, pigs, even.
Resources
And
of it,
land and we don't just saw the branch that we're sitting on. We're completely stupid. It's just like punching a hole in the ship where you're sailing, and that's exactly what they're doing by selling us to the New World Order.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really is no fiction, the New World Order. It's documented.
Oh, yeah.
They've had many flags over the year, from the Trilateral Commission to whatever name they're using this week. They keep on switching. It doesn't matter if they're the Popular Party of Canada or whatever. It's the same beast. Left wing, right wing are both wing of the same bird.
Yeah, it's the talons you got to watch out for.
So,
Yeah,
so this
exactly.
is why we're establishing a structure right now,
Right.
which is made by draw and
let's
volunteer.
talk about the structure a
unpaid.
little bit. In Falcon Lake, what was the thing that was cemented into place?
The Act of Union.
Okay.
What does that mean?
That means one person from every province in Canada, and unfortunately, we don't care about the territory because in the Constitution, we don't ask for their opinion. They're run by the federal government. But one province equals one person that came in to the convention, and they signed willingly and freely an act of union. They wanted to be part of Canada. That's all we
Right.
need. And who are these people? Just people. They're not famous. They're not called Michael Jackson. We didn't bring over Britney Spears to do that, or
Sponsorship.
Justin Bieber.
I'm one of them.
You're one of them. So
Yep.
who are you?
Just a
Just a person, just a
Yeah.
human. Eh?
I don't even know how legislation works.
So well, you don't need to, because all the
Being honest.
all the legislation that they've done, all the legislation are invalid.
Now,
all of it.
I'm not wet behind the ears. You know what I mean? Like, it does take someone of a certain age or knowledge level, at least one would hope. But I'm not a lawmaking
Well,
person. I'm
look
not
at
a
it.
lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
No, I hope that you're
the
not.
reason why the lawyers get in there is because it's all about the speak.
That's correct.
It's all about the language.
It's all
If
about
you
the
don't
show,
know
the
the language,
entertainment.
then you go in there and you think the judge has authority because he's up on a platform. He's one platform above from you.
No,
But
get off
really,
from your step.
But the
and-
cops are on the same platform as you. So you go up to the cop and you say, "Hey, look, you work for me,
Yep.
right? We're on the same level. Now I want you to take this document here that this judge has, like a mortgage or anything, and say this is a fraud. This is a fraudulent document. I want you to arrest that judge." And watch how fast
Well,
the judges start fucking.
No,
scattering out
you
the
don't
back
ask
door.
other people to do things you're not willing to do yourself. You want a judge arrested, arrest him yourself. You have the power of arrest. Every power that they've got comes from us. They cannot do, can I tax you?
No.
So how can I,
Without my consent.
without your consent?
And
Or,
we were
or
talking
you're too
about how
stupid and you
under
still
the Income Tax Act that the federal government can't really actually come into a provincial jurisdiction and take money out of my pocket.
They can, by constitution. There's a certain amount of thing which they can tax, like the importation, the borders, for example. There's a certain thing. But the beauty of it is that every taxes, because taxes are illegal in the constitution. But since the government is illegal, whatever tax they've set forward,
right,
whether
exactly.
they're illegal, whether it's the
Again, that goes
GST,
back
the
to
PST,
why-
whatever you call
and
it
that goes
this
back
week.
to why I'm here.
That's right.
Because even though, and let me like wax loquaciously here for a moment. Even though the idea of a king and the idea of the state is really just a belief system.
Yes.
It's really just a belief
It's paper.
system.
It's paper.
But we've because of you, Jeff Fortin, and merci beaucoup, we have like pinpointed that it's like a tether when you're on a parachute or whatever. You want to be able to fly, like, when they do that parasailing behind a motorboat
yeah.
in Mexico, you're tethered to the boat. You know what I mean? You need a spot to clip your tether onto. And that spot that we've clipped our tether onto is actually the perfect spot, because it is true that the whole foundation of the de facto government is illegal.
Yes,
Because
they don't have any foundation.
They pretend like something happened that never happened. And then therefore, hey, great spot to tether your caliper onto and be like, you know what, I'm going to go off on my own direction, but I'm tethered over here. So when they're over there and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm tethered to this. And they're like, well, we are too, and we lied about it. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know what? Once people find out, you're in a lot of trouble.
Well, let me
Yeah.
make sure about thing. What we're doing is absolutely legal. It's peaceful above all. We don't need to take a baseball bat and go smash the window at the legislature.
That's what the Antifa does.
Our strategy is based upon peace, understanding. It's so
And
simple.
using the legal process.
There's nothing legal in their process.
Well, no.
No, but
Using
the foundation,
the common law,
yes,
the jurisprudence
common
of
law.
the age,
Yes.
of what to do, right?
Yes, and that's basically how they brought about common law.
That's right.
Because the king of the time was abusing everything and he was ordering other people. This king here that we have, he doesn't want to order anything. He didn't give any order but to the de facto people to stand down, basically.
So what's the importance of a king in this system then?
It's the foundation of our system. It's the way the Constitution has been set. For the past 88 years, they're gonna get you to try to blame the constitutional monarchy or the monarchy, but you never had it. You never had it.
So in 1867, when that document was created, was there a king or was the queen residing over
There was a
Canada?
queen, if I remember correctly, my historical lesson. It was Victoria back then. I may be wrong.
And she ruled over Canada, the Federation.
She overviewed the elected government. She didn't actually
so that was the
rule.
monarch in power.
Yes. The role of the monarch is not to give, especially not order to the people. He doesn't have that power, but he can order the government about two things: whether he recognizes them to organize the country on his behalf, or through the court system and the legitimate court, like grand jury and king's bench, to kick them out. There's nothing else. That's why I support common law and the Magna Carta. That's when the king who were abusing England lost the power to declare war, to wage a whole bunch of tax on the people, to send the children to die. That's why I support this, because the monarch doesn't actually, he reigns, but he doesn't rule. That's the difference. The government rules, and the government doesn't have more power than the monarch in any way, shape, or form. He cannot order the people to do something. When they got conscription to go on, that was basically an order for the people. No, if you want the people of your country to go at war, you need volunteer. That's all there is to it. So that's how it works. It's
So
based
Denny
on.
has volunteered to take this position.
Actually, he was not necessarily. He volunteered to be king, yes, but he's not a king that knows how to rule. He does not know the power of a king, so that's a good thing. So he
Yes,
cannot.
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
He cannot abuse the power of a king.
He doesn't have advisors, you know.
Oh, he has
constantly.
me.
He has,
Yeah,
yeah,
he has
and he has
me.
his, you know.
So for a while, I was the sole person as privy counsel of the king. But everybody is welcome to take a share of Canada and be an active part. And you want to be part of the organization of the country. He's looking for advisor from every province.
So you started with one lieutenant governor?
One governor general.
One governor
Oh,
general.
For
Angel
two,
Prince?
yes, Angel Prince, yes. For 2 years, we've had only two person, which were member to human, if you prefer. We're not talking legalese, but let's correct myself about person.
Sure. Yeah.
We have had only two human part of the SRPC, which is the society that we've created.
That's a website too. You should throw
Yes,
that up.
yes.
'Cause
Well,
there's no one able to put it in there, but
I can't share my
what's
screen.
the website?
no, but it's SRBC PC.
Well,
PRC.
I'm gonna ask Maureen, which is looking
Yeah,
to
Maureen,
throw.
if you
could
can throw the link in
throw
the
the
chat,
link in
then,
the chat.
that'd be dope.
Yeah,
It's actually a good website. I mean, it's a good start. You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I've seen it. We also have the Canada Grand Jury website, which is made in
Right,
French,
GrandJury.ca.
yeah, but Google has made a good translation, except for the judgment, which was
Yep.
printed and scanned, so you can't translate it. But the rest of it was done. There's a bunch of criminal organizations which are listed there. They've been listed since 2015. It's true. They know. They've been informed. There's a bunch of dangerous delinquent to be controlled someday. If we do, well, I hope we never do have control of the prison, but when we do, and we will someday as the people, there's going to be something that will need to be done about these people. Personally,
Yeah.
I am not in favor of prison or jail, if you prefer, because it never changed anything. It's existed for the past 2,000 years. I'd much prefer to see them walking at pace in the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. We sell hot dog and we throw them tomato. That would be my thing. Or
Well, you know,
to
at
be
the end
more
of the day,
useful.
conversation, discussions.
Wow.
Yeah, to rule them
Discussions.
out by shame, and then
Yeah.
they get to pick the paper on the side of the
prisons
highway.
are actually a huge part of the global agenda. Because I'll tell you why. My buddy Jeffrey Matt. Shout out to Jeffrey Matt. Again, it's like every episode of our show, we're talking about Jeffrey Matt, and that's just because he's become a good friend of mine on Skype and phone, and he's just he has a love for the human race.
Yeah.
You know, really, and a very smart person. But he sent me a document about UN prisons, right, and how they and how really what they're doing is they're like, when we hear in the news, oh, there's climate change and there's climate refugees and there's banking crisis and all these things we hear on the news, 100% planned. 100%
the news should
by
come
the
to my.
UN, and the sole reason is the prison industrial complex.
Oh, it's huge. It's
is
a
super
corporation.
high up on the ladder.
It's a for-profit
so they
corporation.
want
Yeah.
people in their prisons.
And what's their
So
product?
they've designed these
Jail cells.
they've designed
Yes.
these prisons, right? If you think about it, but this prison design is a template for like smart city design.
Yes.
If you think about it, not like one to one. It's sort of you take away the prison
Microcosm.
cell, but you make it a micro
Yes.
condo.
Yeah.
But it's the same ideas there. So what they're
The
doing now
privileges and
is the
what they
UN
can
has
and
put out
cannot
this
do.
document where it's like, okay, we've got this. It's like 100. It's like 180 pages. Here's how you design a modern day prison. Not the ones that we designed back in the 80s and 70s and 90s. No, the ones that they're going to build today. And then what they've said is, well, in order to fill these prisons up, we need climate change and refugees and immigration, and we need these laws, and we need China to become more powerful than the U.S. and blah 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 blah. And they've already got it goes out to 2040, and they actually use this term like throughout this document. Going out to 2040. This will happen. Going out to.
Well, they're just projecting it, and that's an important part of goal setting.
And they planned the whole world.
Right?
They planned the whole world.
But they didn't plan this, and they didn't plan this little thorn in the side.
They didn't plan the union of the people. And it's all interesting about what you have to say about the New World Order, but I think you can do that without me because I don't put any interest in these people. What I'm interested is one thing is Canada. Let's get the people together. So I'd like to throw this at you so you feel useful there, Paul. So this...
What is this document?
This
this
is
document
the document
says
you were reading right before the show, right? So if you'd like to read this to the people.
It's the British North American Act, 1867.
The BNA. Nice.
Yeah, enacted by Her Most Gracious Majesty Queen Victoria and the Imperial Imperial Parliament.
If you get back one page and read the two articles, get back one page.
MBA.
The other way. The other way around. This page.
No one heard that.
No, we're not looking at you, Adam.
So the next, it says here, right up there.
Yeah, this one and that one.
Okay, so I'm reading on this document here, and it says, the next step is an interprovincial conference where an agreement can be reached upon the powers to be conferred on the central government and the powers which must be retained by the provinces. What does that mean?
That's what we've done in Falcon. Like basically, this is writing a constitution. But the thing is, it was easy for us. 1867 was already written. Keep going, please.
All right. So it says under the title Federation. First of all, power must be conferred upon appointed representatives of the province so as to carry on the government of Canada, and with the power to call an election as soon as possible after the Constitution has been ratified by the people of each and all the provinces.
Can you read the people again? So that's exactly what we've done. We brought people, just people. It doesn't say member of the government, member
ratified
of the firing
by the
squad.
people of each and all of the
So
provinces.
technically you were there, Adam. Even though you could not physically be there, you've seen the Act of Union. You've willingly and freely signed. Nobody put a gun against your head. So
But does the people mean plural? Isn't people a plural word?
What do you mean?
People. A
People.
person is one.
Yeah.
People
People
are
is
more
several
than-
people, right?
Yeah.
So that's, yes, it took 10 people to sign the Act of Union. It was overviewed by the DEJURE Governor General, and it was overviewed by King Denis Premier
And
here.
you made documents of that?
Yes, of course. We've got documents for everything. The original are not presently in New Brunswick in a safe place, so the CSIS cannot get them.
Wow.
We threw them at sea in New
Have you
Brunswick.
have you thought of throwing it on online digitally?
Did you really?
So-
Did you really?
No. But they're in safe hand of the Governor General. So she had the original. Because I'm not part of this society. I'm only Denis' advisor now. When we started, I was officially member of the Privy Council. Now I'm just a person. I'm just a human. I've stepped down. I've done so much thing, and I'm reserving myself in case Denis
Well, you're a
ever
wealth of
needs
knowledge,
me.
man. You got to be somewhere in the shadows.
Well, I'm his friend, but yeah, there is, if when this works and we grow up in numbers, and I spoke to you about it yesterday. There are several positions that needs to be filled to form the actual state. Of course, there are a need for prison
So,
guardian,
let's
border.
talk about that.
Yeah,
Let's
so
talk about let's
if
go to the very basics.
Well,
right?
the
So you-
basic is here. This is the foundation of what we've done, based on, of course, this derives from the Constitution.
Yeah.
This is our royal claim of right, which was notarized. You've got the date on top, April 4th.
April 4th,
April 4th,
2017.
2017. Yeah, and 2 years, not 2 years, but a few months later, on July 1st, 2017, we've crowned Denis. This is available on my channel. You're on YouTube. It was done publicly in Ottawa. This is how we got started. So for the next 2 years, we looked out for potential lieutenant governor for each of the province, which we finally got. Those same people were invited in Falcon Lake in last June, so they signed the Act of Union. Not all of them could be there because of financial or work reason, but they still showed up with their signature willingly. They've got the copy of the document sent to their home, and they signed it physically and sent it back through the mail, or in case of Adam, he took a picture. So we had the documents, and then we formed Canada, and now a month later, here I am here in Victoria, and trying to explain to the people that the old system, whatever grievance you have against it, take it on them, not on us. We're starting fresh here, a government buy-in for the people. The government will be responsible for his action, so he'll need to answer in front of the people. We are the people, we are still people. Hopefully, when it comes to the election, which is the hard part about the government, we'll have the $1 million that it needs to make an election, but we're not at this step now. Right now, the next step that are coming forward is a formation of the Senate in Ottawa. There's only a Senate in Ottawa. As it pertains to Ontario and Quebec, there's a need for a legislative council as per Constitution. So these are the next step, and then for the Lieutenant Governor of all the other provinces beside Ontario and Quebec, they need to form directly their legislative council. Their legislative assembly, sorry, no, do not mistake it. They're only one level chamber for government, and they are elected. So what we wish to do is bypass the election, if possible, by installing a public draw. So hopefully, let's presume for a moment here in BC, you need 100 person, or human, if you prefer, to establish the legislature. Well, hopefully 300 are going to show up, then we can make a draw. So there's no infighting, there's no political campaign, there's no corruption. That's how we work at the grand jury.
I totally think that's a great idea.
So pray that you
purely by selection.
Pray that you not.
One of the things I want to talk about specifically about the show, this so far this is updated and new and good information, but I want to step forward. So one of the things I want to talk about was like. The surprise announcement is that I am the Lieutenant Governor of BC under the DEJURE Canada, because I took an oath to King Denis Premier.
Well, why don't you kneel up there to your king in front of everybody?
You said there would be no kneeling.
I said that, so you remember that at least. Yeah, you don't need it. We're not the old system.
Yeah.
But he's still your boss.
What I want to talk about is if I can create a strategy for BC for a grand jury. And I know that Paul Chauvin, Rob Menard have a strategy for a grand jury in Ontario. I also, from the last hangout that we had, became aware that there was a strategy for Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, they're gonna move quickly out there. It's a small population.
So what I'm thinking about is, let's say, because now there's a Lieutenant Governor of de jure Government Canada in every province, and then that person is successful, and we can create a Senate federally in Ottawa. And everyone eventually, then the next step is creating legislative assemblies. And then, we get to that point, and then the grand jury. So Prince Edward Island's going to be like out of the gate. Rob Menard and Paul Chauvin are working hopefully with like secret. So far,
there's no secret. They're gonna work on the Bank of Canada.
They're influencers. They know people.
So there we go. So what I want to talk about, this is what because people have been commenting on our channel about when we rebroadcast your show and what and then at Falcon Lake certain things what were made concrete, and now we're at this next step where you're saying the foundation is built, and now we have to move forward. It's up to us. And so
you need to put the structure forward. I've put the foundation with him, and now I'm stepping down,
and that's
because
what we
I'm
want to do. But what I'm thinking, what's cool is, if Jeff, I want you to help us out, because us lieutenant governors, we're all going to go forward. And you suggested to me a really good strategy for our grand jury in British Columbia. We know, and you've just said that the grand jury strategy in Ontario is the Bank of Canada. The PEI one's a little different, but they got their own
agriculture and water issue.
Right. So okay, good. So that is really highly connected. You know what I mean? We're not going after, like you said. We're not going after some dog got run over in the street. No, we're going after but for me, what I want to know, and this is to help out the lieutenant governors, right? If we can all move forward with Jeff's advice, it's just advice, and create this strategy where all of the provinces have this grand jury when they can get it, right? When they can get it. And in BC, it's going to be for BC Ferries. That's what I'm going to say now, because haven't created a strategy of how to move forward and execute the grand jury. But that's where we're going. So it's step by step. In BC Ferries. In Ontario, Bank of Canada. PEI, we're talking about water
Why
protection.
BC ferries? You said it earlier.
Well,
They're
but
part of the highway system, and there's a problem. Ferries is a jurisdiction of the federal government.
yes.
Is
BC
So we need to
is
restore
BC
things in
Ferry?
Canada Post.
Wait, I will refrain from saying anything about BC Ferry. I'm supposed to be on the ferry at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. All right. So
Yeah, but it's a right, isn't
but
it?
I'm
a
gonna
right?
You want to get on that ferry,
Isn't it a
right?
right to
Is
get on the BC ferries?
Is it right? No, it's a corporation.
It's a corporation,
So I could pay,
that's right.
but
It's a
I've got
private.
one advice for you, Adam, and it's don't rely on me. I'm just one man. I
No, I
am.
want to hear the
made-
strat. Tonight's the time.
I can
when-
die tomorrow.
Tonight's the
and
time
what
when you're going to
gonna
lay out
do?
the strategy on record, so that for over the next 12 months, myself as the lieutenant governor,
Your
of British
your
Columbia-
job is to find a assistant attorney general,
But-
and
but-
he gets to find a prosecutor.
Right,
And
but
this
what I'm
is where it's
interested
gonna
in
go.
is when all of the lieutenant governors go forging ahead with their system, the list that you're telling me, get the senators for Ottawa, get the legislative assembly, the prosecutors, form the grand jury, move forward against BC ferries, try to make it part of the federal transportation system. Maybe we don't win money, but people start resigning and things improving. But what I want to know, Jeff, tonight, what is the strategy for each province that you have in mind? And at the end of the day, when I go forward with the grand jury against BC Ferries, Paul Chauvin and Robin Menard go forward with the grand jury against the Bank of Canada. The guys at PEI go forward with the grand jury.
You're going to be
And then
really
every other province-
disappointed.
why is that going to be beneficial? Because if I win
Because
BC,
grand jury is done by the people, so you're going to be really disappointed. I have no strategy. I have none whatsoever. I want people to be free. Step up, do it yourself, and make it happen. I've done my grand jury. I didn't, or it was his grand jury,
Yeah.
so I did not appropriate it. I don't want really to have any power to be recognized as any
No.
authority or advisor of anything. Do it yourself. You may succeed. You may fail. Who knows? But if you don't do it, if you don't plant carrots, don't expect
I guess
to
my question is
collect
like
carrots.
if like why so in Ontario the Bank of Canada,
Because they're social.
but individually
it's based there.
individually
That's right.
we all get why we need the Bank of Canada back. Individually we
Same
all
thing.
get
Same
why
thing
we
for
need the
BC
BC
Ferry.
ferries
Yeah,
back.
they're supposed to
But
be a.
what Canada will we see when each province goes to that grand jury process through the DEJURE government, which everybody watching the stream is probably a lieutenant governor. Once everyone does that effort and we go through and we win our little individual, what Canada do you see after we get the Bank of Canada back? After we
I see
restore the BC ferries?
personally, I see a Canada where the human or the life is put forward before everything. Well, life of quality, where we can all breathe clean air, drink clean water, eat clean food without Monsanto bullshit into it and 1,000 other chemical product, where we can read on the cereal box wheat. And that's all there is. Not 1,000 freaking word I can't pronounce because I can't speak Latin, but I don't speak chemical either. So when the people are truly free to be themselves, where they understand that their freedom stops where another freedom starts, that you can inject paint in your vein if you want, but don't bother the neighbor about it. Don't run in the street naked because you've injected methamphetamine
Or the
in
opioids.
Just a fair playing field, because it truly is a free person, a free individual would be able to make the decision to eat the Monsanto Cheerios
If they wish,
if
yes,
they wish, right?
yes.
But the
But now we all
difference
don't
is
have
that
the
they're
choice.
not being subsidized by the government. They're not being
That's it.
small businesses aren't
Authorized.
being bureaucrat, red taped to death,
There's
so
a lot
that they
of
can't
people-
even start a business selling whole wheat Cheerios. Because there's, you need a $100,000 startup fee, and you need a bathroom for an inspector, and you need all this bureaucracy. I just prefer a place in which people can choose what they want to do.
There's a minimum to be able to form a society. Let's presume you own this land here where we are. You cannot start a scrapyard and pile up junk a car all the way to the top, right? There's a base common law rule in which you don't disturb your neighbor, but if you do wish to start a scrapyard, well, find a place which is empty, which nobody is getting bothered, and that you make sure that you do not spill used oil and rust and everything all around, because you're going to pollute downstream. There's the business. the business, the corporation, are licensed by the government. They can be inspected. But as it pertains to individual or human on their own, the government cannot come in your home and say, hey, you can't walk naked at midnight because the government said so. Well, this is a private place, right? Just like religion. I mean, you're free to exercise any religion if you want, Islam if you wish, Christian if you wish. But if you're in the street with your giant sign, say, sign for Islam or sign for Christianity or Jew, whatever, you can't do that. Because you're stepping on other people's freedom of choice. If they want to be part of your religion, they'll walk to you through your church door, and they'll choose to be part of your cult. So it's the same thing for everything. But when I go to the grocery store and have a choice between Cheerios and Fruit Loop, but they're made both by Kellogg or whatever corporation makes that, General Mills, and they're both containing glyphosate. Where's my choice? I don't have any. When I got the choice between the ketchup Heinz and the ketchup President's Choice, and when you read onto the label, it's made by Heinz.
Or if you want to drink, non-pasteurized milk from a local farmer down the road, but you
can't do that.
He's getting busted, killed. And he's getting court and rung through and losing his house and. It's the same old stuff, right?
So but once again, to get back to Adam's point, I have no strategy, and don't look at me for strategy. I'm one human being. I'm not well. I've left. I was kicked out of the Canadian military because of health issue. There's not much longer that I will live from now. I may look well because I'm not like a missing body part, but it's not true in reality. So. Yes, the future generation will put the foundation in place, which has already been done. It's up to you people to build the structure.
Can you ask Denis a question?
Sure.
Like, why did he sign up for being king?
Pourquoi t'as décidé, t'as accepté de devenir roi? Peut-être
régler le problème.
To solve the issue. Y avait-tu d'autres mondes qui se présentaient?
What issue though? What issue exactly? Like,
so I asked him also, was there anybody else that presented himself as monarch of Canada, and he said,
no.
There was no.
So
nobody.
What's interesting about that, and you can share this with Denis if you want, is he said to solve a problem. Well, the thing is, that problem is Denis, but it's also Jeff and Paul.
Yes, you don't need to be king to. So
it's actually takes an extraordinary person, and they're quite rare.
Yeah, to solve someone else's problem.
Who wants to solve someone else's problem?
Yeah, responsibility. Well, Maureen actually has a good point here. She says, what does she say? It's I just had it highlighted. Yeah, there's no blueprint on how to build a country. A free country is developed by the people with the Constitution.
Yeah, there's lots of comments in there about me being a jackass because. Me because asking for a strategy. Well, it doesn't. You don't need a strategy. You need people that want to do things that are good.
Well, what's nature's strategy? Because that's
Sun Tzu, Art of War.
An organized chaos.
Kind of.
Nature is going to grow where it needs to grow, and where it's going to take care of the issue that are thrown at her. I guess that. Humans should do the same thing. When a problem arises, you put the people into motion. You sit a community down very quickly. Okay, well, here's what's going on. There's an earthquake. All right, you're a firefighter, and
that's right.
We'll dispatch you first. Who can help him? And he's a plumber. And so let's fix the pipes, and throw the people in and pay them if we need to keep that system. And
so
then
what
pull
you're
them
saying
back.
Is that the roads would be built without government?
They would be built by the government. In fact, I don't. Mix it up. By the people in government. They should be paid, but I don't think that the road should be distributed to little friends. Let me finish on that issue. Let me finish, especially on the road, because you got me going there. Right now, the roads are built by private corporation, right?
Right, of course.
100%. So why don't 100%. We put a bunch of people, you get hired by the government, you get to work on the machinery. Here's a little course, it lasts 3 weeks, 1 month, whatever it lasts, I don't know.
Wouldn't that cost us like $45 an hour or $75 an hour?
Well, how much did you get paid to do all this?
Do what? Do what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
There you go. So maybe there's no dollar.
So what do you think about the new thing that the BC government, if you don't run for, if you get elected in the BC government, at the provincial level, MLA, right? If you get elected and then you don't run again, you get $1.6 million. What do you think about that?
That's it. That's in their de facto system now.
Yeah. So Josh Defler said something on our show years ago, which is the key, I think, to it all. They constantly talk about sustainability, right? And they're like, well, fucking Lisa Helps is ideologically possessed, right? She must remove single-use plastic bags, and eventually it'll be your car. I promise you. But right now, so what was I? Okay, so the sustainability, right? So they always talk about how sustainability, right? Sustainability, plastic bags. But yet the fucking piece of shit that did nothing, that got elected because the electorate's ignorant, gets him $1.6 million. How many people?
Which is worth nothing.
How many MLAs sit in the legislature building?
I don't know. You're the lieutenant governor. You tell me.
I have no idea.
Well,
I'm very good.
Then you
But
got to
it's
start
over
by
100.
reading
It's like
this.
106. It's 120. It's about
It's
120.
yeah,
120
put it
in
on
the-
the side
in the
there instead
federal-
of finding the answer.
It's about 120.
It's 105 senator in Ottawa.
105, yeah.
I don't know about British Columbia. I think
BC.
it's 69 or something. Prince Edward Island, to form the government, you need 22
Yeah.
people.
So
It's
69
35
people. So
for
70
legislature,
people.
something
70
like that.
people get 1.6 million
And they're all
fucking
useless.
dollars because they got elected once, and
No, it's
now they
because
don't
they're
want
holding
it.
a secret. and
It's
they're
like their
gonna-
pension.
Yeah,
It's
that's
their
why.
pension.
Yeah.
It's
They're
Josh
sold.
Steffler said it best. When they talk about sustainability, they're not lying. They're telling the absolute truth.
Well, how to keep that
But it
franchise
isn't the
alive.
planet that's fucking dying.
No.
It's not
You
the
don't
fucking
understand that they
law.
want to sustain themselves, not
That's
the people.
right. That's right.
So
but
that's
they're
why
unsustainable.
the
Because we, the
system.
people, cannot afford to pay $1.6 million. So what happens is all that money for the government officials comes from the fractional reserve lending.
Why do you
They
think
created
that
up
an
thin air,
apartment
and
in
then we get in
Victoria?
debt, and we get in debt, and we get in debt, and where does it go to?
It started
Well, I know
that
where the
way.
Well, you
fucking
got to
money
realize
goes to. It
it's
goes
a
to these
fictional debt too, though, right?
Yes.
government people.
Yes.
Again, we're all
Look,
talking in fiction.
Look, let's solve the issue really quickly. The DEJURE government starts fresh, and I told you about that. What's the amount of debt? C'est quoi le nombre de dettes de ton gouvernement que tu es en train de former?
Zero.
Zero.
We, but
We don't care. It's
but
their
that's what
system.
they need to fucking make.
It's
That's
their
what they.
system.
I get it that we're gonna make that.
Give me back
Believe
my
me, I get
constitution,
it.
or I'll jump over the table.
Believe it,
The
I get it.
answer
I
is
get it.
here.
I get it. We make zero, and we're all for like the people, and I get it.
Yes.
Well, we've created
the
a
problem
system.
is whether
That's
we
what
like it
is.
or not,
Yes.
they're gonna keep racking up that fractional reserve bullshit.
Of course, it
And
started
they're
in
gonna keep ripping us off,
1666.
and then taxes are going up, and they
Yeah.
talk about carbon taxes where it's like, oh fucking well.
Do you know why
you pay
taxes
12
exist?
You pay 12 cents tax on a carbon tax.
Do you know
now
why-
on gas?
do
But
you know-
guess what? It's going up to fucking 34.
Adam,
You know what I mean? And it's
do you know
going
why
up.
taxes?
fucking-
Do you know
it's
why taxes
unsustainable.
exist?
Tabernacle.
Do you know why taxes exist? Because it was created out of debt. The system.
Wonder.
They need to take the money out of the system one way or another.
Cash flow.
So yeah, as soon as they create
Cash
everything,
flow.
it's taking the money out of the system.
What money though?
The fake and phony
I know
money.
there's no money. They don't have
There-
it.
no,
so the
there is-
$1.6
there
million
is money.
that goes to these fucking MLAs doesn't exist.
Well,
there
no.
is no $1.6 million.
Santa doesn't exist, but I saw him in the mall last
This is the
December.
only money that exists. 3% of it is real money. This is not even real money. It's paper currency,
It's
right?
legal
it's,
tender.
It's legal tender.
It's legal
Plastic.
tender.
So if we, you want to solve the problem very fast. All of you that are watching, there's not that many, but get all of you get 10 people, and then they get 10 people. Let's all go to the ATM machine.
Yeah.
And get everything out of your account.
20 people,
Yeah.
100 people.
Put, let's say 200,000 people in Canada
Well, that's
who
what
do
they did in
that.
Cyprus.
They run in money. They run out of
Remember
money.
they did that in Cyprus, and
Yeah.
then they
Everything
fucking-
stopped.
and then
Why?
they got the haircut.
Yeah, everything stopped,
They
and
got
I'll
the
tell you
haircut.
why. In a hurry,
Fucking
because everybody's in the
because of
lineup
haircut.
waiting for their money.
Denis,
So you stop everything. That's
he
how
knows
we.
haircut.
That's what we need to do. And another thing that if anybody
Sounds
knows,
like a strategy to me.
if a person watching this
He's humble.
knows any postal officer, they're in every village in Canada. They've got sold and fooled. They're supposed to
Yeah.
be federal employee. We need these people to step
And you know what
forward.
they deliver 90% of the time? Junk mail.
And
Junk
it's
mail.
not. It's not
we,
an.
we have a
corporate mail.
federal. We have a federal. It isn't federal. A
It's
federal
private.
post office, which
It's
thinks-
private.
called Canada Post, right? But TM, little TM at the bottom right.
Trademark.
You know what I mean? So it isn't a government organization.
So
it's
let's
corporate.
let's just run this
And
down
they-
quickly.
and they
And
deliver junk mail
I'd like
for
to
the
take a moment
corporations.
to answer the people also which are in the chat. Adam is getting all emotional and hyped up by that, and I understand because he just joined in. But we need to think this through
not
easily.
emotional at all, dude.
We need to work.
Stone cold killer.
All your answers are hint here, right,
Mm-hmm.
on how to do this, and in historical fact, a grand jury. By the way, to answer your question from 20 minutes ago, what you need to do is get the issue put in front of 23 people, whatever issue you want to bring. In your case, you said BC Ferry. There may be other reason in British Columbia to bring, like the pollution of the Fraser River, things like that.
Shawnigan Lake, getting poisoned big time.
So yeah, there are many.
After
A grand jury. Let's close up on grand jury. Can be in many issue at once. But like you said, if your dog got run over by a drunk driver, it's not a reason to do a grand jury. The other factor about grand jury that I started answering earlier does not do criminal business. It's civilian case, right?
Yep.
But it can indict. And this needs to be run an indictment in front by comparison or to compare with how they call it summary conviction. Summary conviction comes from Napoleonic law, and it needs to come out. It's French law, and where you are guilty before you prove that you're innocent, that's impossible. We need to do indictment where it is up to the prosecutor to present his case. And out of the grand jury of 2015, to answer, because it's a long answer, we did have 110 indictment that were produced in criminal justice in the grand jury's judgment, which were preceded by myself as a prosecutor in criminal court. All these parties that we've put on the criminal organization, which is on the Canada Grand Jury website, came after the grand jury itself by indictment.
And that was in the Supreme Court of Canada.
Yeah, it came after the Supreme Court. So now I'm speaking about the story. So all these criminal, there's a bunch of organization which are ruled criminal organizations. So all of those who participate in those organizations are criminal themselves. They're supposed to be on the dangerous delinquent list to be controlled. But the problem is one example of the criminal organization is the Quebec Bar Association. There's 25,000 people which are member of this organization. You know, I felt tired at one point, and I didn't put the 25,000 name onto that list. They're included in it. We've put the Sûreté du Québec, which they pose as cops in Quebec, but they're a fascist private corporation. They're all in it. There's 12,000, 17,000 of them. They're all on it. So the list is so long that I think we're going to run out of jail space within 2 seconds.
Yeah, there we go back to jail
So I would
space,
prefer that we
The UN in
reappropriate
2030.
Canada Steamship Line, which is part of the government. Give them a one-way sell ticket to anywhere. You want to have your republic, go in China and have it, see how it goes. You want to go to the United States, it's a failed republic, go and see there how it goes. Go in France to try if you want to try a republic. They're that close from civil war. You like republic, you hate constitutional monarchy, well, you have a problem because you've never ever lived it into your life. He's the first monarch of Canada that we had legally, lawfully, and constitutionally. And I don't want this show to be too long because it's going to do just like the Falcon Lake Convention, which was 4 hour long.
We've already been
So
an
I
hour,
wanted to
Let's go to your question.
The reason, what I
And
would
the
like to do is
people's
because
question.
I'm a very lame person. I'm a lame.
Is this
there's CCs.
your CMP? Yeah.
Yeah, they're finding us. I'm a very layman when it comes to a lot of things. So I ask very basic questions. So we've got a King of Canada.
DEJURE.
DEJURE King
Yes.
of Canada.
Nothing to do with the de
Denis
facto.
Premier.
Denis Premier. So then we have the Governor General.
Yeah, Angel Prince. DEJURE always. Everything I answer is DEJURE.
Yeah, DEJURE. And then we have the Lieutenant Governors of
Yeah.
each province.
Yes, which Adam is standing
And that's
for
the
BC.
secret. That's what the Adam's big secret is, that he is the Lieutenant Governor.
It's not a secret. I already said that.
Okay, it's not secret. He made an oath.
Yes.
There's no
Oath.
secrets under the jury.
That's
No.
right. So now we have that. We have the hierarchy. What is now needed under the Lieutenant Governor in BC?
Legislative Assembly.
What does that mean?
Oh, senators.
Senators in Ottawa. It's not your duty.
I know,
But
but
we
I'm
we
gonna-
spoke about it, and it's
Yeah.
better because Angel Prince doesn't know that many people throughout Canada.
I'm going to get some senators.
But
Don't
every
worry.
lieutenant governor knows people in their province. so they can provide them for her, and then she gets to do
think
those
people are laughing
nominations.
on it.
Don't forget that these people, the lieutenant governor, the king, the senator,
though. I like
they're
that. Yeah, I
not
like the beard.
elected. They've never been elected.
That's correct.
So that's why it's nomination
They're
from the
appointed.
top. They're appointed. They
by
represent.
the prime minister, right?
Yeah, right now, but it's illegal. The nomination comes for the lieutenant governor. It comes from the governor general. The governor general's nomination comes from the king, and they've done the other way around now. The elected people name all these people above.
So it's their party, yeah, and it's only going to continue.
Yeah, so they're all like this, and
So he needs to create an assembly.
yes, Adam needs to create. That's his only duty. To provide the senator is to help Canada form together as a union. He needs to form an assembly. It's in the Constitution. Let's say you need 68 to occupy the government building here in Victoria. That's the amount that you need. Hopefully, you're going to get 300, so you can make a draw. And so this way you avoid the election. But remember, we're in the interim structure that we're setting in place. You will not be posed as government. It's just to reassure the people which are not aware of what's going on. There is a need for an election. There is a need for an election. It's in the Constitution.
Right.
So, but right now, there's also a need to clean up the mess in a hurry. So that's why I think that the public draw is the best option so people gain confidence again. See, look, this government is formed by the people. We can trust them for a while to clean the house. Because there's been a big party, it's a mess all over. There's beer, naked people, they're sleeping on the floor.
wrong with that?
They smashed the window, they've done everything, they've trashed the wall. So now we need
that
some
kind of
people
party,
to put them out, clean the house, put it back together, then we
You're
can.
talking about the young liberals.
But you're
I'm
talking
not
about
talking-
non-professional politicians, people that are real people, that
Yes,
have real lives,
yes.
that really care about
Yes.
Canada and nature and our environment
And the
other
land.
people
Let's
and the land.
put the land and the life, and they can decide on every issue as best
Man,
as
you
these
guys
assholes.
are so white. Like, I am not white. When I look at that camera, I'm like...
It's because you're in the dark, man.
I'm red.
Organic Mechanic says, I've been talking to the guys about putting on a seminar, a public seminar, and a Q&A. I think that's a brilliant idea because what we're talking about is kind of complicated, and being dumbed down Canadians and from public school, I don't even, like, without, like, most Canadians don't know this language. They don't know what it is. All they know is that they get 2 hours of stat pay or whatever to go do their election, and they go into it. They got to show 2 pieces of ID, and that's their duty. That's what most, I would argue, that being very general, that's what most Canadians see their duty as. So I think
there's more to it.
There's way more to it, and I think education is the key to this new system.
Well, I've made an education.
Monique would go to that seminar.
I've made an education. Well, we've organized the seminar in Falcon Lake, and we barely had 10 people showing up. We've organized the Carl Edward Fleury organized a seminar in Lloydminster last month, and we had 50 people showing up. We went
Location-specific stuff is difficult
look,
to do. Though. We've done lots of.
I don't
had
fucking
We're
believe
paying.
YouTube that there's only 12 people watching right now because
There's 24.
I see way more than 12.
24, man.
There's 24.
Oh.
And okay, so let me be real clear. We've organized seminar. I've traveled the country 10 times now, and he's traveled the country 2 times. Nobody shows up. Nobody shows up. Nobody cares. Everybody's too much busy watching Pokemon and listening to.
Well, people have lives. The beauty about the internet is that they can watch it when they have time.
So I could come back next month here in Victoria. We organize a seminar just the way it is now. Prepare your question and I will answer them. But the thing is, don't look at me. Don't look at him as a leader. Look into your heart. That's where the answers are. If you're looking on the answer on how to form a government, it's easy. The Constitution Act 1867 to 1982. Why do you need me to read that for
Show
me?
it one more time.
Why do you need me
Come on.
to read that to you?
Like,
Just
come
get
on,
it.
People, we gotta get read. Like, read. Read.
So
I know that we want to watch Netflix,
Well, go and watch Netflix.
right? But we also need to do the basic work. There's gonna be 2 to 3 to 5% of Canadians that are gonna read that.
When we get 3% of
That's
the
all we need.
population,
That's all
we'll
we
win.
need. That's all we need. We need.
But we need less than that. There was him and I at the Supreme Court. Est-ce qu'on a gagné à Cour suprême? Did we win at the Supreme Court?
Yeah. But why?
Him
But,
and
but,
I.
but what did you get out of it?
Well, we've got a country back.
Yeah.
We've got a
So,
judgment here.
What does Denis think about, like, what would he like to see out of this de jure government?
He told you earlier.
Ask him, like, for the people.
For the people?
For the people watching.
Qu'est-ce que tu t'attends du gouvernement de jurer? La même chose que tout à l'heure, ce que tu as dit. Régler le problème.
Yeah.
To solve the problem.
Ah.
That's
guess-
as simple as that. And he doesn't know how to solve the problem. You're looking for him to, now the King Denis is going to save us. He's going to send out a check. No.
Yeah.
No, and he's not going to tell you what to do on top of that. The only power he really has is if Adam doesn't do the right job, he calls a grand jury and you get kicked out.
I'm in trouble now. That's the story of my life, man. Always been in fucking trouble.
Well, Aaron
I
Bax.
always speak up and people fucking shit all over
So
me,
all you
know?
need, people, all you need is not me, it's not him, it's
Yep.
this. It's this. And you first, and you first,
Yeah.
and you, well, he knows it already. I know it.
Yeah.
So if we all get around that, they run scare in Ottawa because you'll find out in this, well, wait a minute, they're not doing the Constitution. Therefore, how can they stay there? Well, they cannot. That's the answer. Well, they're the government, they're in charge, they have all power. No,
So-
you're lying.
Let's talk about.
Hold on, Aaron Baxter says, I want this
Yeah,
to work out.
exactly.
But you seriously think the Bank of Canada is going to
So let's
use
talk
real
about.
money?
Let's talk about.
He also says,
Robin
how does
Hart,
everyone
Porsche
not get assassinated if you try and break ties with the IMF, Federal Reserve, and NATO?
It's already done. Ask Maureen to read it. It's on my channel. We've already broken tie with them. The DEJURE structure has nothing to do with them. We're not in it. We've been doing this alone for the past 7 years. Are
But-
they dropping Scud
But
missile
not only
on
that,
this place?
but not only that, we have
Not
a
yet.
strategy to reclaim the Bank of Canada, right?
It's already in motion.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
already in motion. So
Exactly.
people are taking care of
People
that.
think it's a fantasy fucking land, but here we are. We got Rob Menard, Paul Chauvin, and they're going to.
Rob Menard is not part of us. Stop.
Oh, I thought.
Paul Chauvin is
Okay.
part of
Paul
the
Chauvin
society.
and Ontario going for trying to hook up with probably.
He's
Russell
doing this.
Bellotti.
He's doing the same thing as you. He's installing a legislature. He's not
Yes.
running a grand jury, and it's the same thing as we discussed yesterday. You are not establishing a grand jury. You need to find an assistant
That's right.
general prosecutor, which
That's
will find a prosecutor or attorney general. Sorry, you need to find an assistant attorney general, which is going to find a prosecutor. He gets to run the grand jury, and he does not answer either to the prosecutor, to the attorney general, nor to you. He's independent.
The point is, though, when
Grand
the
grand
point
jury
though,
prosecutor
when
is
Aaron
independent.
Baxter asks, "Do you seriously think the Bank of Canada is going to issue real money?" It's like, fuck yeah, it did before.
Yes, but we
And
have the
it
Royal
will again.
Mint. If you read right
It's
now
not-
into
right,
the
it's not
Money
real
Act,
money. It's never
the
gonna be real money.
Royal Mint prints real money. They print gold and silver coin. This is the legal tender in Canada. The rest is promissory note from the Bank of Canada. Don't mix it up.
Yep.
It's two forms of different money.
Right.
Just like a check is money. A check is money.
So
represents-
that's
yeah,
a whole
it has
other
value.
fucking show.
But let's not get
but-
into legalese. Let's
Exactly.
not confuse the people and
Exactly.
fuck the money. If we get
Exactly.
into money, because everybody, it's
That's
a,
it.
it's a,
That's
It's
where
all
you get
good-
lost.
It's all
That's a
that's
mess.
It's like what you call
Fuck
laundry.
the money.
We're gonna hang the laundry out to dry, right? We're gonna hang the laundry out to dry. It's all gonna come out.
Is
in
that
the,
code
in
for
the-
money
in the
laundering?
right? Like so, yeah. Right now, sure, there's no real money because it's all fake. But you know what?
It's
one step at a
always
time,
been
and we're gonna
fake.
hang the laundry out, and down the line, 5 years from now, all of a sudden, the Bank of Canada is going to be lend the money to the federal government interest free. That's step one. Step two is restore confidence in money
no,
by
step,
backing it.
step 2 is then for the federal government to loan the province interest free.
Yeah.
It goes from top down.
So
If
there
you
you go.
remember, Canada is not a union of province.
There's a
Canada
number of
is
steps.
one country separated into province. It's totally different. We're not the United States, where there's 50 states who came up together to commit to the union. This is not the way it works. Canada is one country from one end to the other. Whether you're in Alberta, British Columbia, Quebec, and you try to split the country, you're a traitor. You're gonna get my boot into your
You know,
ass.
it was Sir John A. Macdonald that actually.
Well, I want
the
where.
union.
Do you know where the statue, the
Where is that?
The statute is?
where the statue? I want it back. If they took it down from Victoria City,
They relocated it somewhere.
I'll put it in my own background,
Me too. Put it on my
in
front yard.
backyard. Yeah.
Well, I
I'll
agree
put
with I agree with Maureen Weir. She says, I guess we need to make shorter learning videos. I think people have a short attention span, and in this day and age, you just kind of got to make things real cut and dry and simple.
Well, anybody
Well,
volunteer
you know
to
what,
make
And that's what I'm saying. Anybody that's watching this, that's a videographer that wants to do this, that has any kind of
one article a day. One article a day, 2 minutes per article
Yep.
in the Constitution.
And you
Two
can do it.
articles if they're short.
Yeah.
I'll make you a blog roll on our
And
website.
Freedom Free for All. Yeah, we'll
If
make
you
you a
don't
blog
have a
roll.
website,
And you
you
can
don't
do
know
it.
how to do it, I'll make it for you.
Yeah, because that's all it takes is bodies. It needs help, you know.
Yeah.
So if you're active, if you're young, if you've got any talent, use it. I heard a meme. I saw a meme on Facebook, and I totally agree with it. It says the meaning of life. No, the purpose. The meaning of life is to find your purpose.
Yep.
No, it is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. So if you've got a talent, if you've got a gift that you have, the purpose of your life is to give it away. So
That's what we
that's
need,
what you're doing.
universal
That's what
basic
Denny's
Well,
doing.
I got two questions for the people watching. If you
I'm
are, if
joking.
not you, who?
I'm
If not
joking,
now,
boys.
when?
It's a good one. If not you, who? And if
If
not
you're
now,
looking
when?
at me to save your ass, I'm sorry. I'm not going to save your sorry ass.
Yeah.
I'll have trouble
But
saving
then
my
you
own
will
ass.
save my ass.
No,
No, he'll kick your ass.
No, I'm joking.
with his metal leg when he gets them. But
yeah,
that's
I know.
you
If
know.
he had legs, he
so-
would kick my ass.
Crypto. Someone is talking about crypto.
So let's wrap up.
We have cryptocurrency. What do you think your banking account is? You have a password to go and get it. It's that we already 97% of the money is crypto. We
Yeah.
need sound money. We need money that you take a coin, you drop it on the table.
So we have to wrap
Sound
this up
money.
in 12 minutes.
Yes.
So in 12 minutes,
So if you stop talking, we'll wrap it up.
let's talk. Chat
But
with.
I'll
But
need to
Denis, Denis too. like.
So you had you were at the lake, the Falcon Lake.
At the lake. That's
You've
where
got
that's the
everything,
whole
right?
movie.
You've got everybody in play. Where now? What's the next step for the next
Next
year?
step is to form the Senate.
For what the.
That's the very next step. But we need also now we start to
Oh,
need
that's US
we start to
dollar,
be in need of a certain amount of people
What
to
do
be
you wanna
involved,
show?
to
The
step
people
up
or
as
the face?
senator. To step up as senator and to step up
Some
as
symbology?
member of the Legislative Assembly. But there's one thing: I'm not going to promise you anything.
Fake money?
And the thing is, you'll never get paid. You
That's
will
over?
never get
Yeah.
paid because we're not being paid. He's
Oh,
the
that
king.
was your fault going.
See that
Can
sound
you hear
money?
what it sounded? You hear
That's
that
sound money.
Yeah, that sound right there. Ching ching. That was silver.
Sound
Yeah, crypto. Someone ID there is chatting about crypto. Crypto has been created by J.P. Morgan and company. So it's
the alter-
it's
it's the
another
The thing
scam.
about crypto, and this is entirely
Every currency is a
the thing about
scam.
crypto is not the right word. The correct word is blockchain. Crypto is blockchain. Blockchain is
Yeah,
crypto.
based on the
So
internet.
don't talk about crypto. There's no such thing.
Hold on.
There is only blockchain.
Based on
And
the
trust me,
internet and who created the internet?
voting is going to be on
DARPA.
blockchain.
No,
Absolutely.
No.
Voting, everything. But you know what else? It's not just voting. It's your DNA will be on the blockchain.
Well, your DNA
that's
is a
another
blockchain.
show. Me and Jeffrey Matt are working on that in detail.
No.
You can watch our show on our channel.
the internet
Me and
was
Jeffrey
created
Matt
by
talked about
DARPA.
that,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah.
the internet was created by them, was given to you to spy on you. There is nothing safe on the
Oh, I'm not
internet. You
disagreeing
go
with
with
that.
blockchain.
Of
Oh,
course.
I have this long password. Well, it's stored on a hard drive.
Yeah.
I can hack
But
your
you know
hard
what,
drive
Jeff
just like
Fortin?
this.
I actually have a theory, and this is the real deal. And it'll take 30 seconds. Your
Timing,
computer has a processor and a RAM and a hard drive, and it's advertised as operating this fast, right? But the fact of the matter is that measurement that they're giving you is what they're telling you. But but what happens is what they don't tell you is this much of it, 80% of your
meant to
computer.
spy on you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your computer is actually a fucking piece of shit.
I know.
Because 80% of its resources are spying on you.
Should I remember you where I was
That's why you
working
have the right
in
to
the
repair
intelligence
movement?
community here on the wharf? I can't tell you what I was doing, but you
Hmm.
should be able to be intelligent enough to find out what we are doing. There is no secrecy on the internet. I don't need to work for the military to tell you that. It was invented by DARPA. The rest is a lie. So it's
The
meant
rest
to
is a
spy
lie,
on you.
100%.
These devices here.
We'll talk about synthetic biology one
I've,
day,
I've
buddy.
called a cab to be here, right?
Yeah.
And when I called the cab company, it dialed automatically for me, and
Yeah.
it says, "Are you at such and such address?"
yeah.
I didn't
Oh.
spoke to a human, and then a minute later, your cab is coming. You want to track it? I got into a cab. It says on the side of the cab, everybody who steps in this vehicle get their picture taken, and then it tracks you to your destination. So. Blue Cab knows I'm here.
Well, wait till the electric cars come in, man. Because
who?
remember the plastic bags.
Who's coming
the
in?
The plastic bags is about electric cars. Period. People don't connect it, but that's what it is. Because they're going to get you out of your
Organic
cars.
mechanics
And then the electric
says-
cars will be like that, what you just talked about, times exponential. It will take you where it wants to go, not where you fucking want to go. It takes it where it wants to go. So you're a slave, your electric car shows up in the morning, it drives your slave job at the government, right? You're working for the
Perhaps.
government, trust me. Everyone's working for the government.
Well, if you're a
The
card-carrying
government's
government member.
Bureaucracy begets bureaucracy, right? And therefore, if my budget as the Ministry of Child Rape is $100 million a year, I need that $100 million again next year.
That's
But
right.
I
You
want
have to justify
112
why
I
you're
want
no, it'll be
112
120 next year.
$120 million.
Yeah.
Right? So I need to rape 10,000 more babies. Okay, let's rape more babies. So they do. And then they get the 120,000. And then it's like, now the electric cars take the slaves to the baby raping centers, right? And they think that, oh, but with climate change, we need electric cars.
There's no. I'm gonna close it on that. There's no climate change. I live up north in BC. We got minus
there's no
49.
climate
We
change
got
at all.
snow until the end of June, and everything
Jeff.
is
I
normal.
appreciate you sharing that.
There is 7 minutes left, and I'm not going to take control of your
7
show.
minutes?
But if
How
you
do you
go
know?
on plastic bag, I think you can do that without me. I'm here to speak about the DEJURE structure, and we need everybody to take part in the DEJURE structure. Don't think of yourself of being a nobody that knows nothing. I guess you're more qualified than the lawyer who swear a stupid oath to their stupid organization that sold themselves for $100,000 a year. Everybody is welcome. The only requirement to do that is to be a person of goodwill and good art. If indeed you want to sell yourself, just go and see the de facto people. They'll be more than willing to buy you and pay you to be an asshole. We've got plenty of them. We don't need you. It's for our country to be better, to be good, to be what our ancestors given to us. But the other side of it is that the people who step in the DEJURE structure in society, we're not responsible for the de facto asshole in action in any way,
Correct.
shape, or form.
Exactly.
If you're looking for a remedy, buy them, go and see them, see how good it does to
Yeah,
you,
good luck
and you
with
can
that.
ask with this guy how he's been treated by the de facto asshole. We're not taking over them. We're simply putting in motion a better
You're
thing.
running a parallel system.
A parallel system, hopeful, and we're not hoping to gain power, celebrity, or anything of that kind. We're only
Providing another venue for other people. Right?
Thank you very much. A choice for the people that you've never had. But once again, we're not responsible for the asshole that came before us. Not because the red shirt have hanged your grandfather without a reason. We're not responsible of all of that. But I'll tell you one thing. Don't trust anything that comes from them because they've proven over and over that they are not worthy of trust. But then again, don't put your trust into us. Put your trust into yourself. Look into your heart, into your mind, what's going on, what you wish the world to be the change that you want to see in the world. And now we're providing you the foundation of a structure. It's up to you. In other words, we've provided you the ship, and we're looking for a crew. So
Looking for a crew, yeah.
So whoever you are, you're a cook, jump on board. You're a bosun, who can handle rope, jump on board. You're a stoker who can run the machinery, jump on board. You're a radar operator, we need you.
Yeah.
But we
And
don't
you gotta
need parasite and pirates.
And you got to invest in yourself because that is the most valuable thing: is investing in yourself, into your rights, into history, reading, like you have done, obviously, like Denny has done, like everybody's done. I think it's really important to invest in yourself. Take time away from the phone. Take time away from work. Take time in solitude to actually read documents, read books, and invest that time. I think 0% had one question.
To Aaron, before you can get on justice.gc.ca, there's a PDF version of the Constitution. What's your question that you were?
You can Google it, it'll find it. 0% said, question, how do we get you guys funded? What are the avenues? I'm not looking to buy anyone. I want to fund the Eternal Guard so they can have teeth. So I know.
Then he needs a wheelchair if you want to know, and that's an utmost emergency. But that's as a human that he would accept anything. As king, we don't need fund we have the Bank of Canada when it comes forward.
And I honestly think it's very hard to get funding.
But
with
as
this
as a human, Denis needs a wheelchair. If you want to make a donation, he'd be willing to accept an electrical wheelchair. That's all that we could accept for. So it's $18,000. But yeah, that's about the only factor. As the JURE Society cannot accept any money in any way, shape, or form. That'd be selling ourselves. Everybody needs to do it for free on their own dollar. Put your money so this way everybody around us, and don't ask for donation. If you're stepping up for the JURE Society, don't ask for money. We've never asked for money. I've used my own dollar just to be here. It's another $2,000. I spent $4,000 along with other people which are in the chat right now, for which I'll take a moment to thanks. Maureen Weir has put some of her hard-earned dollar into the Falcon Lake Convention. Paul Chauvin has done the same thing. He was there with his mom. Great people. Tammy DeLine, which is standing for Manitoba. Bill, I'm sorry if I forget. Bill Case from Prince Edward Island. Angèle Prince from New Brunswick. We all put our dollar. So we're not asking for any money, but if you're willing to throw some dough on the table, Denis, as a human, needs a wheelchair. So if you want to make a human donation, just
that's how you can do
hook on with Freedom Free for All. They can be the intermediate.
Comments at Freedom Free for All.
But then we're not asking anything.
Yeah.
We don't want anything. We're kicking ass.
So is there some way that people in their respective cities and municipalities and provinces can connect with the team?
You want to connect with us? Get this. This is how we'll all connect. Don't try to reach for me. I am tired. I'm reaching the end of my life. I've spoke to 1 million people in Canada. No, I'm exaggerating. It's just a figure of speech. But I'm getting tired of spending 16 hours a day to explain the same thing to everybody, one after the other. That you just need. So I take an hour with you. I take an hour with him. I take an hour with everybody.
That's
I
your
don't
life.
have a day anymore. So I'm reaching the end of my life personally. Especially if we fail with the JURE Society, I'm going to yield to the fascist dictatorship that I was born with and they're going to win. I don't care because I'm reaching the end of my life. So, and I'm still.
You're trying to create good while you're here, right?
Well, yes. If not me, who? And if not now, when?
Yeah.
So it's me. It's now. I've done what I could. Take the ball, because in baseball I don't play alone. But if you get 3 strikes, you're fucking out. So the other team is out, and we're stepping up to the plate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate all that you've done by reaching out to us. Like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And Denis for being on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And strong hands. And we'll be posting a lot more of this. Anything that you want to have to post on the show, by all means, let us know. Like I said, you're an ambassador on the show, and whenever there's a news update,
thank you for your trust.
Hopefully we can be there. And I'd like to see this grow. Personally, I like the idea. I like the thought of it. I like how people are stepping up on board.
Well, you can hit my channel. There's publication in English, including the Falcon Lake Convention. Thank you very much.
And what's your channel?
Abitibi. ABBITTIBBI.
Abitibi. And if you ever come on a show on a Tuesday night at 7:30, you'll see him in the chat, and he's always giving lots of good little bits and parts. So I guess at the end of the show we had Adam. He's ran back into the studio right now, so we're going to have to sign off here. But just remember, find your gift and give it away, because that's the purpose of life. So thanks again for tuning into the show. Thank you everybody for all your comments. There's a lot of chat and banter in there, some back and forth. And I just wanted to say, Sweetie Squad, don't take everything so literally. Once you get past what a person is, you can be a person. In this studio with these guys.
No more legalese.
No more legalese. No more getting caught up in that. Although, when you're in a courtroom, you better watch what you're saying.
Yeah, legalese.
Because legalese matters there. But
yes.
in real world, it's,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much
Thank you, everybody.
for watching.
Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon. Tune in to 7:30. Coming up, we're going to have Dr. Tim Ball on the show.
And I got a free Freedom Free.
Yeah, nothing's free. Nothing's free. Not even freedom.
We need your support. Go to freedomfreeforall.com and get your t-shirt. They come in black power and white privilege. So get yours today.
That's good on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
But you did the exact same thing. You can't help it because it's like every time.
That's just fucking, it's in the can.